Hey, welcome to Truth and Reality. I'm Ashley. So glad that you're here. This podcast is dedicated to just that, talking about reality and the ups and downs and in-betweens of life and how our faith and truth and God fits into all those spaces. I'm here with Melissa. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Ash.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. What's in the cup today?
Tea
Tea.
again.
I'm just having water. I'm trying to hydrate. My little M cup anthropology.
So cute.
Just trying to hydrate.
Yeah, that's good. On a hot day right now, it is a very hot day.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, we are talking about self-care today, which is great. Hydrating yourself, self-care. So
Right.
we are just going to talk about that and talk about some of the misconceptions about self-care, some of the misunderstandings, and how we navigate that when we are walking through trial, and even now in life when we are just kind of navigating some in-between spaces. I used to think, I don't know about you, Melissa, but I used to think that self-care was selfish and not okay. And
Right.
that if I did something for myself, that, it was taking away from somebody else. And it was so interesting. I had somebody not recently, I guess recently within the last few years say, the Bible actually tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves. So if we aren't loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, we truly can't love other people. When that basis was like, if you're not caring for yourself, then you're out there looking for validation, looking for love, looking for what could fill you instead of being full, being self-controlled, taking care of yourself so you can pour out to others. And I think that switch for me was really integral. How do you think about self-care now versus what you used to?
Well, I don't think I even knew what it was till probably a couple years ago. I think it took something super big and hard happening in my life. I don't think self-care was really something I was good at when the kids were babies. Matt was traveling all the time, and just even learning to say no to things or even ask for help and working out. And so I have to say, Ash, I was probably really guilty of not doing it a really good job at all. I don't think even much of it until probably it took his passing or even going through cancer. And so, I mean, now I can see, I know my limits. I know my, limitations or days that I'm having a hard time. I know what works for me. I know the gym and working out is a big part of self-care for me, or even taking a walk, going down by the lake and things like that. I think I've seen good patterns of behavior that have happened because of that, right? I'm a more calm mom, more patient with my friends, more understanding, more showing grace to those around me. But I have to say, Ash, I probably was not really super good at it previously. I don't know. I'm with you. I think when I heard someone was like, oh, I have good self-care, I'd read a book like self-care. I'm like, was that so selfish? So I think I had some wrong thinking of thinking that was something that was like, why are they doing that? Or they're selfish people. And now I'm like, oh, I was just missing out, so
Yeah, yeah. And
guilty.
honestly, I think when I wasn't taking care of myself, resentment grew inside of
Right.
me that, I
Right.
wasn't getting time to myself or things I needed. And I don't mean like frivolously. I just
Yeah.
mean like basic things like taking a break for me was taking a shower. And that's
Yeah.
like a basic need. That's not self-care time. I mean, maybe if you enjoy really
Right.
long showers and that's your thing, but
Yeah.
I thought things like, oh, if I could, take a shower and dry my hair, then I'm okay. And I lived in this constant state of lack, I think, because I didn't take space to actually figure out how am I feeling and what do I need to be a healthy individual. I'm not talking about being crazy and, outrageous amounts of money and,
Yep.
things like that. But there's nothing wrong with like, I, for a season, really enjoyed getting my nails done. It was time where I could
Yep.
sit, where I could rejuvenate, where I could feel pretty because my nails were done. If I'm being
Right.
honest, when my nails are done,
Yeah.
I feel put together, even if I'm in sweatpants and no makeup.
Yep. No, I
Um,
get that.
so it's just so interesting to have that shift. And it's like, what does that look like for you now? What does self-care look like? How does that balance with the care for your kids or the other things that you're involved in? I guess that's a question we both can answer, but you want
Yeah,
to
I think for me, I really have to just kind of look at the week, even if it's Sunday night, just myself. Obviously, it used to be something with Matt because we did it together because we were married. And so because I'm single right now, I look at the week and figure out times that I can put moments in, like you said, whether it's for a walk or whether it's just taking a shower or even just taking 30 minutes to myself where I come upstairs and just read a book. I think
Mhm.
it's really key and critical to be able to carve out those small amount of times and
Mhm.
take that for myself and not feel guilty about it. Like you said, I get my nails done. That's a small little
Yeah.
treat for me that I love to do. I don't always have time and the ability to do it, but when I do, it sure feels nice. I think it's even little things like buying myself flowers. The other day, I was kind of feeling bad for myself of the season of life of being single and
Yeah.
not having anyone in my life. And I went and bought myself flowers, like, and so I think it's just small little things where it's like doing things for yourself is so important and not feeling guilty about it.
Yeah.
And, I think you and I both talked about when I take those moments of time, whether it's 30 minutes or working out or going for a run or taking that
Mhm.
30 minutes in my room, just quiet, it helps me be more of a patient mom. It helps me allow me more space to be able to navigate all of the things, helps me to be hopefully a better friend and
Mhm.
just, navigate those waters and be able to have those
Yeah.
times. And I can see there are moments in my life where I haven't carved out great amount of times. And I know that my relationships suffer. I know that my
Mhm.
kids suffer. I know that I'm short with people or I'm edgy. And so I'm careful and mindful about what I put into my schedule and what I allow myself, and always making sure there are moments or times self care, even if it's 10
Absolutely.
or 15 minutes a day. What about you?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, did you buy yourself flowers on Tuesday?
I
Because
did.
I did.
Did you?
Same day. I went to Kowalski's. This is side note. I went to Kowalski's and I walked
I
in
went to
and
Trader
I
Joe's. So, yeah.
and I
Okay.
felt like singing the song, I will buy or I can buy myself flowers, write
Flowers.
my name in the sand, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I laughed. Not that I'm saying I love the meaning of the song, but every time I do buy myself flowers, I think about that song. That's great. I do that too. I think self-care for me is I like quiet. So I need to get up
Yep.
early. I need to be able to journal in the morning, have a cup of coffee. I read my Bible, and when I can feel set there, then I'm able to continue on in the day. I know
Yep.
that part of self care has been learning to feed myself well.
Yep.
I think that's funny, but I would just eat here and there or eat what my kids eat. And if I'm being honest, this summer, I kind of backslid in my self care. The schedules went out the window with summer, and all the kids' summer schedules kind of took precedent. And I wanted to do that. And that was important for me to have them in camps. And I wanted them to be able to do that. But then, as you know, Melissa, my workouts went out the window going and meeting the girls at the gym. That's kept me so consistent. And so I literally had a conversation last night that I'm like, man, my workouts, I've only been walking, I haven't been lifting. I can notice that in my body and how I'm feeling. I'm not eating
Yep.
quite as well as I have been. I'm drinking too much coffee, not enough water. And I saw
Yep.
myself spiraling into this like survival mode. I'm staying up later. I'm not waking up early. And I'm constantly on this little cycle. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm not spiraling, but I'm noticing, oh, this isn't working. And I'm starting to get in unhealthy patterns. And so I'm like, okay, let's step back. Okay, hence the tea.
Yep.
What are we doing? How do I need to step back and reframe and prioritize? Because I felt like I'm starting to feel unhealthy. Like I'm starting not to
Yep.
feel good physically. And then I'm shorter with my kids. I'm less patient. I'm more frustrated. And I just have realized too over the last 5 years probably that when I am taking care of myself and making
Yep.
sure I'm eating, I'm taking my supplements, I'm drinking water, I'm exercising, I'm in good relationships and have friendships, that I can call and talk to.
Yep.
Like those are the self-care things too for me, that then I'm like showing up to my kids and my roles and my responsibilities full and like pouring from a full cup rather than an empty cup. So,
Right. But
yeah.
I think you said something that's key and vital is that you have to recognize it, right? Like sometimes I think it's hard for us to recognize that those things aren't, or you get busy. I'm the same with you. I felt like this summer totally got us out completely out of our rhythm. I've done all the camps. I think you and I joked about it the other day at lunch. Like I've been to the gym twice this summer. So I'm like clearly where you and I were there
Yeah.
3 to 4
Yeah.
times a week. And I think
Yeah.
you have to allow it in a season too, that it's okay. Right. But what other things are you doing in the meantime to take care of you? Whether it's me going
Yeah.
for a run or walking outside, taking those times. I agree with you about diet. It's so key and critical. And it's easy just to be munching on the kids' lunch. I mean, you and I both joke about how much coffee we drink, and it's not always good. Right. I mean,
Right.
so
Right.
just
Yeah.
taking all of those simple, practical things. Mornings are big. You and I are both morning people where it's like, I need to carve out that time in the morning before the kids get up where I need quiet as well. I feel like there's always conversations happening in this house, which I love. And I wouldn't have any other way in this season. they're
Yeah.
sometimes exhausting. So, for those people listening, whether it's a corporate job or motherhood or whatever season they're in, I think you have to carve out those times, whether you're a morning person or night person,
Mhm.
even allowing that time in the car. I think you and I have talked about that. A lot of times our time in the car, I have to just turn off the radio and then turn off my phone and just have a moment of silence versus calling someone, checking on how they're doing. I think you have to just
Yeah.
find those little windows of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's easy to get wrapped up in doing all the things. And I think sometimes too, we don't have the conversations with other people of like, what are you actually doing for yourself? I don't know. I don't
Yep.
ask that people. I don't ask that
No,
question to
I don't
people very
either.
often,
Yeah.
nor do I say like, here's how I take care of myself. So,
Yeah. I'm
which
going to
is
start
kind of just,
asking you now.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
good.
start asking you now.
Yes, that's good. Well, we're going to continue the conversation. Thanks, Melissa, for sharing about that. Thanks for joining us. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Peace Runs Deep, and we will see you next time.